Ladies and gentlemen, today I'm going to tell you a story that shook a quiet American town to its core. A story about fear, obsession, and a single 911 call that still echoes through the halls of the Riverside Police Department. Let's go back to October 12, 1999. Riverside Springs wasn't the kind of place where people locked their doors. It was peaceful, surrounded by dense pine forests and long empty highways. And everyone, literally everyone, knew Linda Hayes. Linda was a 34-year-old single mother working at Millie's Diner, a small restaurant off Route 47. She worked double shifts just to support her two kids, Emily, 8, and Noah, 6. Her coworkers remember her as warm, hardworking, and always ready to help. What most people didn't know was that Linda lived with quiet fear. Fear of her ex-husband, Mark Dalton. Mark had been arrested twice for domestic violence. He had just been released from county jail that summer, and since then, he'd been seen around the diner, watching her. Not approaching, just watching.
On the night of October 12th, Linda finished her shift late. 11:47 p.m., security cameras show her wiping down the last table, turning off the lights, locking the diner door. She looked tired, but relaxed. She walked toward the parking lot, only illuminated by one flickering streetlight. And then she stopped, because someone was standing next to her car. The figure didn't move, didn't speak, just stood there, half hidden by shadows. At 11:55 p.m., Linda got into her car, locked the doors, and called her sister. The call lasted 42 seconds. She whispered,
"He's here again. I think he's waiting for me."
Before her sister could respond, Linda hung up. 3 minutes later, she dialed 911. Dispatch logs confirm the call came in at 11:58 p.m. Linda's voice was shaking so badly she could barely form sentences.
"I think someone is following me. I'm in the parking lot. Please send someone."
The dispatcher asked for her location. Linda started to repeat it, then suddenly screamed.
The call cut off. It lasted 19 seconds.
Police officers arrived 18 minutes later, delayed by a burglary report across town. Linda's purse was on the ground. Her car door was open. Her keys were still in the ignition. But Linda was gone. Footprints led into the woods, 2 sets, one small, one much larger. Tire marks suggested she was forced into a vehicle. People in Riverside Springs didn't sleep that night. They locked their doors for the first time in years.
Detectives immediately contacted Mark Dalton. He claimed he hadn't left his trailer that night, but neighbors told investigators something different. They heard Mark's truck start around midnight. They saw him return at almost 3 a.m. Still, without physical evidence, police couldn't arrest him. The case went cold. Weeks turned into months. Months turned into years. Linda's children grew up without answers.
7 years later, in November 2006, a hunter discovered something deep in the forest. Bones scattered near an old abandoned cabin. Police identified the remains through dental records. It was Linda. Inside the cabin, investigators found disturbing clues. A torn piece of clothing matching Linda's last outfit, rope fibers, burnt papers in a rusted metal barrel, and one half-burned notebook. One page caught detectives' attention. "She shouldn't have left me. She belongs with me, forever." The handwriting matched Mark Dalton.
Mark was arrested the same night. During questioning, he tried to stay calm, but detectives noticed his hands trembling. After 6 hours, he broke down. His confession was cold and emotionless. He waited for Linda at the diner, forced her into his truck, drove her to the forest cabin and kept her there for nearly 12 hours. He claimed he just wanted to talk, but after an argument, he became violent. He buried her behind the cabin and burned evidence for days. In 2007, Mark Dalton was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
Every year, people place white flowers near the diner's parking lot, where Linda's last moments of freedom took place. New police officers at Riverside still listen to her final 911 call during training, not out of cruelty, but as a reminder that sometimes even a 19-second call can tell a story of terror, a story of a woman who tried to get help, but help came too late. And so, dear viewers, the tragedy of Linda Hayes remains one of the darkest chapters in Riverside Springs history. A mother who wanted nothing more than to protect her children. A woman who tried to escape her past. A victim whose voice still echoes through time in that final call.